What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. Today I saw Chasing the Dragon. It's a Hong Kong gangster film starring Donnie Yen and Andy Lau. And it's actually a remake to another Hong Kong gangster film which came out sometime in the 1980s, I think. Anyways, that film is called To Become Number One. And it's about this character named Crippled Ho, or Cripple Ho. And in the original, it was played by Hong Kong actor Ray Louis. Now, in the remake, that character, Cripple Ho, is played by Donnie Yen. Now, I was really excited about watching this film because, first of all, I'm a huge Donnie Yen fan. Also, this is a film where he plays a completely different role from what we're used to seeing. He's not a kung fu master, he's a gangster. And he's starring alongside Andy Lau. They've never acted alongside together in a film before. This is their first time, so this is a pretty big deal. And so really excited about that. Another thing that made me really want to watch this film is because it's a period piece. This is a piece that takes place in 1963, so they have to recreate that era. And I gotta tell you, 1963 Hong Kong was a very different time compared to the Hong Kong today. A very different time, and it was just a very interesting time, for lack of a better term. Anyways, so Donnie Yen, Andy Lau, and this gangster epic, what I was thinking could potentially be one of the greatest Hong Kong gangster films of all time. That's a pretty tall order, but I was thinking it could be a really great film, and it's alright. It's not bad, actually. I won't say that it's a really great film, but it does have a bit of greatness to it. First of all, Donnie Yen's performance. Really outstanding performance. We're so used to seeing him playing a certain type of character. Of course, Ip Man and a lot of other kung fu type characters or hot-headed cops. We're used to seeing him play this type of character. Now we have him playing a crippled gangster. And if you don't know the story is that he's like a refugee from another province of China, comes to Hong Kong, and then he just works his way up to the top, to becoming a crime lord. And that's what it essentially is. And you know these stories, you know how they all end. You know, it always gotta, you can't live that type of lifestyle forever. So it's all about the journey, and the journey is what is quite exciting. Now, what I thought was great about this film was the development. I thought that when he was making his way from just a somebody who's just trying to make a few extra bucks all the way to becoming like a mid-level gangster, I thought that was pretty cool. That makes up a little bit over the first act of the film. But once he became the top crime lord, I just thought that's when it started falling apart and started feeling a lot like other gangster films. Because I feel that the most interesting part has always been, for these types of movies, is the development. How they became that. How they went from rags to riches, or how they became from nothing to something big. And that's all very exciting, and they achieved that. But once they get to the top, it really had a hard time maintaining, and it really doesn't do anything that different from what we've already seen. Now, I actually do not know if this is a true story or not. I think I read that it was a true story, but it just seems a little bit far-fetched. But I shouldn't be surprised that, if it is or isn't a true story, because there's lots of these types of stories out there. But anyways, so yeah, I really liked the first act of the film. And second act, it just started feeling like I started getting a little bit lost, just because it wasn't really doing anything that new. I mean, what groundbreaking things could it potentially do? I mean, it's a gangster movie. It's a Hong Kong gangster movie. And by the time we got to the third act, it just felt like, okay, you know what, they're really running out of steam here. So I don't think this is a great film, but I think it's a good film, especially because Donnie Yen really puts in an excellent performance. And also, director Wong Jing really did an excellent job in capturing the essence of 1963 Hong Kong. A lot of this film takes place in the Kowloon walled city. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a very fascinating part of Hong Kong that used to exist. It no longer exists anymore, but it's kind of like Mega City 1 in the Judge Dredd series in 2000 AD. So think about that. Like a lot of this film takes place in the Kowloon walled city. It's a city which has its own government. There's no police allowed in there. And it's kind of like its own thing, and people don't dare. The law doesn't dare to go inside there just because it's run by gangsters. Anyways, that in itself makes the film very, very interesting. There's not a whole lot of Hong Kong films, as far as I know, that take place in that in the Kowloon walled city, or at least have not had that part of their film. But this is a film that does have that, and I thought it really made for an intriguing part of the film. Hong Kong definitely plays a character in the film. It's not just any city. It's a very, very unique type of city with a very unique type of atmosphere that couldn't be recreated in any other part of the world. It just had to be Hong Kong. The film moves. Another thing I want to say about this film is that I think the film moves too fast. Like, it's good to be a fast-paced film, but it moves a little bit too fast to the point where we see, like, it almost feels like plot holes where you will go from here to here, but what happened between here and there? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a piece that seems to be missing, and that happens occasionally throughout the film. And I really don't think Wong Jing is that great of a director, but he's actually good at directing gangster films because he just makes he made a number of pretty good ones. As far as storytelling goes, it feels like there are a number of moments where you feel like, how did they get from here to here? How did they get from point A to point B? What happened to point A, point 5? You know what I'm saying? So that happens a little bit. Another thing is that by the time we get to the second, third act, and it's just filled with a little bit too many twists, for lack of a better term. I don't want to spoil anything, but that particular twist seems to happen a lot throughout the second and third act after he has fully become the crime lord. Because I'm just thinking, what else is there to do besides, like, maintaining? Well, just throw on a whole bunch of twists and just keep the audience guessing, and then you just feel like man, it's a little bit lazy. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this review, but, for the most part, it was entertaining. It was great to see Donnie Yen on screen once again. He looks really, really good playing the part. He plays it really, really well. He studied the accent so that he can really portray that dialect really, really accurately. Also, I mean, he had to play a cripple, so that's done really, really well. It's a very, very violent film, so if you it's not for the squeamish, but it's definitely, I think it's definitely a solid entry into the Hong Kong gangster genre, and pretty solid film, but still not a great film. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. As always, if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, hit the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. So, I mean, we've seen this type of formula before. It moves by really, really fast. This is a film that things just happen and you just have to follow